Alright, I'll try to make this quick. We got some before and after shots for you, but welcome back to the channel and hope you're doing well. Make sure to subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get right into it. So changes to DLC, they added some data relating to Inkopolis during Splatfest. Changes to Splatfest, they added a new song. Doesn't need the DLC, and then they made some changes for scores and everything on the Splatfest, which will be displayed on screen now. Next is the changes to multiplayer. Spider Shot Nova got a buff. Movement speed while firing is now about 10% faster. Ink Splatter will now fall around the player's feet more easily. Luna Blaster increased the radius of the explosion area that deals 70 damage by about 50%. No changes to the radius of the area that deals 50 to 0 damage. Big Swig Roller adjusted the damage fall off rate based on vertical swing distance, making the amount of damage fall off more gradually than before. Due to this change, the distance where 100 plus damage can be dealt was extended by roughly 15%, and the distance where 50 plus damage can be dealt was extended by roughly 49%. Sniper Rider 5H, maximum damage has been increased from 60 to 68. Slosher and Slosher Deco adjusted the damage fall-off rate when a player attacks someone vertically lower than them, making it more difficult for damage to decrease. Due to this change, the minimum amount of damage dealt to an opponent will be 50. Mini Splatling and Zinc Mini Splatling increased firing duration by roughly 17%. Dapple Dualies and Dapple Dualies Nouveau shorten the amount of time it takes for a player to be able to act after a dodge roll by roughly 0.06 seconds. Splat Dualies, an increased dodge roll movement speed, shortening the amount of time it takes to move by roughly 0.06 per seconds. Reflux 450, made the angle of diffusion narrower depending on the amount of charge, making it easier to focus on attacking a single area, and movement speed while charging is now about 10% faster. Angle Shooter, roughly double the radius of the ink splatter that occurs when it hits terrain. Burst Bomb, increase the amount of ink consumed from a standard ink tank from 40% to 45% if the player doesn't have the Ink Saver sub-ability equipped. The amount of ink consumed when the maximum number of abilities are equipped will not change. Adjust the specials. Ink Vac, increase the radius of the outer perimeter when vacuuming up ink by roughly 10% to cover a larger area than before. Tacticore, increase the initial setup speed when throwing the Tacticore by roughly 33% to enable it to be set up farther than before. Roughly double the horizontal radius of the area where players can drink a beverage. Reef Slider, increase the amount of damage dealt from 60 to 70 when getting caught in an explosion at long range, and increase the radius of that area by roughly 17%. Increase the radius of the ink splatter from an explosion by roughly 21%. Inkjet, increase the radius of the explosion area that deals 50 damage by roughly 43%. No changes to the radius of the area that deals 30 damage. Strengthen the jet of ink that comes out when pressing B, enabling players to jump higher than before. Ultra Stamp, increase the radius of the area where a player can be damaged from the shockwaves of continuous stamp attacks by roughly 43%. Improve the turning performance when doing continuous stamp attacks, making it easier to change direction. When doing continuous stamp attacks, the stamp will now be displayed as translucent on the user's screen, making it easier for them to see where they're going. Crab Tank, introduce an interval where players cannot attack for roughly 0.33 seconds after returning to attack mode from mobile mode. Increase the amount of time it takes for players to act again after the special ends. And then Kraken Royale, we couldn't get the footage for this, but made it easier for a player to be pushed back by an enemy attack in tower control mode when the player is on the tower, and made it so that a player will drop all their clams and power clams wherever they are when they use the special on Clam Blitz mode. Very mode specific changes there. And then kind of just to brush up a little bit, we got gear changes, which is sub resistance up. The damage from Burst Bomb and Fizzy Bomb will be reduced more than ever, even with just a few gear abilities. The damage reduction from equipping the maximum gear abilities will not change. Opening Gambit, if a player splats or assists in splatting an enemy while this gear ability is in effect, the effect will now be extended by roughly 15 seconds instead of roughly 7.5 seconds. Made it so that the Intensify Action gear ability will also occur when this gear ability is in effect. The effect is equivalent to 3 primary gear abilities. And then we got some special weapon changes, which is Carbon Det Roller Deco, before was 200, now it's 190, and 96 Cal Deco, which was 200 and is now 210. And then lastly, which is a good change in my opinion, and that is the change to Salmon Run. Made the interval between touching a golden egg and being able to use it roughly the same for all players. By adjusting the animation speed when a golden egg goes into a non-host player's life ring, the interval between touching a golden egg and being able to use it is now roughly the same for the host and non-host players. However, if communication delays exceed a certain level, the timing may not be the same as the host player. And then at the end, they kind of say that The update focused on adding Splatfest data, adjusting Splatfest points, and making tweaks to online multiplayer. There's also a bunch of bug fixes that they did. And if you guys want to go read that, I'll link these whole patch notes in the description below. I think this is a fantastic update. This is probably the best balance they've put out so far for this game. I think it's going to be in a lot better state. We're going to see a lot more variety in the playlist. Like, they made some huge changes, and I'm really happy that they did. I think my favorite has to be the Inkjet. The Inkjet just got so much love, and this thing was neglected even in Splatoon 2. So here's to hoping we see more of it. That thing is a ton of fun to try to go up against, and it's a ton of fun to use. I want to use it more often. I want to see it in more games, so that's great. Same thing with Tactical, like, thank goodness. I will say the radius increase was a little weird. I don't feel like it needs to be that big. Spider-Shot Nova getting another buff is great. I wish the Sniper Rider got more love, but it didn't, unfortunately. I think it got like the weakest amount of love out of the Big Swig and out of like the 3 newest weapons to the game. Slosher consistency is great. Angle Shooter is insane. And then the Burst Bomb is well needed. Crab Tank getting another nerf. I mean, that's great, but I think it should be at a good spot now, hopefully. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hopefully there's a little bit of help in these patch notes for you. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. Let me know, what do you think of these patch notes down in the comment section below. I'm really curious. Again, I actually really like this patch. Might be my favorite patch so far out of all like the mid-season balance patches. So we'll see. Really hopeful for the future. Hopefully we get some map changes within the next patch. Honestly, we need to test these weapon changes before we actually decide like what needs a buff now. So okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day.